Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be making a custom brush. Now you can use custom brushes for anything. I'm using it in particular to create puzzle books. So the image here on the screen you can see is like a generic roller dice sort of game. And these are just regular elements that I've got from Creative Fabrica, but the brush, you can see the grey brickwork brush going around there, that's entirely made by hand in Affinity Designer. It's a very quick process, and once you learn this process, you can make brushes of any type. And it really helps just lift your designs and make them a bit more unique and a bit more special to you. The assets I'm using here I got from Creative Fabrica. Remember, at the minute there is a free trial for Creative Fabrica. You get 10 free downloads. So you can download the entire pack that I used to make this. There's just one credit. Get it for absolutely free. The link is in my description. It's an affiliate link. So if you were going to a paid subscription, I would get a slight bit of commission. And remember, please do like, comment and subscribe on the vids. It really does help me out. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the video. Here I am in Designer. It's technically Publisher, but I am in the Designer profile, so don't worry about that. The first thing we're going to do is decide what sort of path we want. Now, I want a brick path, so I'm just going to draw a very simple brick path with the rectangle tool. But don't worry about the colour, because you can change the colour as you change the, after you've made the brush, you can change the brush colour. So don't worry about that. So I've drawn out one brick. I'm now going to use the move and duplicate tool to move and duplicate this item. So I want to move it horizontally. So by the way, to do that, select the item, press enter. I want to move it horizontally. And I want to have a little bit of a gap between each brick. So I have to go at least 6.71 inches to move this. So I'll show you quickly. 6.71 is the width of the object. I've got to move at least 6.71 to move it completely out of the way, but there's no gap there. So I'm going to add another 0.2. That's a good gap. Now, I'm working in inches, so it says inches. If you're doing it in pixels or points or whatever, you'll have the corresponding item there. So that's a good gap. It might even be a bit big, to be honest, but I'm going to keep it as it is. And now I'm just going to adjust the amount of copies. So you can type it in, which I will, or you can use the slider there, or just simply click over here and rub up and down. So that is great. Right. Next step, I'm gonna try and do the same again. So I've selected all of those items. I'll group them together. And this time, I want to move it vertically. Now again, I want the same 0.2 of an inch gap. So the height is well, maybe I don't want 0.2. I might want 0.1 this time, actually. So the height is 0.388. I'm going to do it 0.488 vertically. 0.488. Duplicate, that's a good gap. I'm going to duplicate it twice. There we go. Just group these together individually. Now the final step is to just offset this slightly. I could have done that in the duplicate and move section, but I would have had to work out the gap. I would have had to work out the distance between here and here, factor in the gap, and it's too early in the morning. I could not be bothered. So I'll just pull it out by hand. And that's that. That is the path. Now there are a couple of things you can do to this. Obviously, you can change the colour when the line is made. So we can't do loads of things to it because it'll be dependent on the colour. For example, if I was to add some green moss around this orange brick, it wouldn't really work because the colour changes as you change the colour wheel of your brush. You know what I mean? So you'd have a darker shade there, but it would be of the same colour. So It's hard to explain. So if I was to use this brush and I've drawn my nice little green moss and I've put a few cracks in there and a few different textures, and I was to use this brush and change the colour to yellow, it would all be yellow, just different shades of yellow. But you can certainly add different textures and things like that into it. So if we were to just grab the pen tool and let's say we'll grab the pencil tool instead. I'll do it in black, but it doesn't. Although, you know, no, I'll do it in black. And I'll just draw a few lines. To add a bit of texture. Now, don't worry about that line being out the way. I could clip it in to the brick, but I'm just going to leave it sitting on top. If I was being more professional, I would select the correct curves and just drag it into the corresponding brick. For example, let's group all of those together. So for example, I'd find that brick like that, and then I'd drag this group of curves into it. So now it wouldn't have mattered if I'd went over the line, which I had. It would have been clipped in there, it would have been fine. Right, so that's the setup done. The next thing to do is to select all of this, group it together with Ctrl G, and now we're going to export this selection as a PNG. File, export, PNG, selection area. You could probably do selection only as well. The selection area takes the white colour with it. Selection only gives you a transparent background. It all depends on what you want. If you want the colours underneath this design to show, and that gives you more options. But again, you can export this twice and have a background and not have a background. In fact, I might do that just to show you. So there we go. I've exported the PNG. Now we've got to add it as a brush. And to do that, you go to brushes. We want to add a new category. So create a new category. And I'm just going to call this puzzle brushes. I'm trying to see around me big microphone. I apologise for my slow typing and spelling. So puzzle brushes, it's fine. I can rename that later on. And then when you go to the burger menu again, and then we're going to new textured image brush. And I'll select both of those. You can only bring them in one at a time, it appears. So I'll do that again. So there are the two brushes there. One with a white background, one without. Now, we've got one more step to do, but I'm going to show you what will happen if you don't do it. So we'll go to the vector brush. We'll select the first brush. And we'll drag it out. So as you can see, this is on like a grey colour because that's what I was selected, but you can change the colour there. That's absolutely fine. And as you see, if we zoom in, the cracks, they don't look too bad, but they're not black. They are a darker shade of that orangey colour. But that's elongated. It's not what we want. What we'll have to do is go into the brush settings. And here there are two options, body stretch or body repeat. Click on repeat and that'll repeat the pattern. So now, when we draw, the brush repeats the pattern and it looks like a proper path. And we'll just do the same one here, repeat. And that's a quick example of what the effect will be if you export the selection only or the area. So the colour does come through. But if you've got, say you're having a sort of like a grassy theme, you might want the grass to show through the gaps. or you could just have it like that to make the line a bit clearer. The choice is yours. And here's another little example. I've exported a new brush. I've just put a grey background in there, just in case you want to have like a concrete sort of thing shown through. But of course, it changes with the colour of your brush. So that's where you might want to export it as a transparent background. But if you export it just with a normal white background, it doesn't affect that. So your options are a white background or a transparent background. If you add a fill like this behind it, it changes colour. There might be a way around that, but I haven't found it out in the copious amounts of research I've done. Now, of course, you might be asking, what can you use this for? Anything you flippin' want. I'm going to use it to create a little maze sort of thing, or a puzzle, where we'll have an item in the top corner, say a duck, and in the bottom we'll have the eggs. The duck's trying to get back to the eggs. I'm not an artist, so I'm going to go create a Fabrica and find some elements. So here is a small scene. I've got a chicken and the chicks at the bottom on a nice green background. And we're just going to select a brush and put in a maze. Just draw where you like, using all the available spaces, man. Using all the available space. I turned Jodie there. And that's it. Obviously, you take your time, make it look nice. You can, of course, change the stroke size if you want to. You can change the colour. Without the fill. Change the colour of the map. You can even change the brush type just by selecting them all and changing the brush. And have fun with it. You don't just have to have a brick path. You could have a cobble path, wooden planks, anything you want, you can make in this brush form. And this is something a little bit more advanced, but I just want to show you what you could do with it and how you could make it. But this is a page from an Easter activity book. It's a simple egg hunt, but we've got the nice brick path going round. It just looks better than a plain one. And of course, with all of the, if we go into layers and select all of the paths, go and change them into anything we want. Change the colours. Into whatever scheme suits your image best. So that's it for today's video. Just a quick one on how you make brushes very easily in Affinity Designer and then use them in your puzzle books.